Throughout the time that I've been at the foundation, Mr. Bolton himself has often posed the question to us whether we think that non-racialism still remains relevant in South Africa today, and whether it's something we should still be mentioning in 2023. At first, the question amazed me because I thought to myself, why would it not be relevant if racism continues to be a large signifier to an individual's quality of life? And since Mr. Bolton has first asked this question, I have chosen to continue to interrogate why I so readily assumed that it should still be relevant. And in essence, what it is about the anti-racist legacy of Ahmed Kathrada that I continue to carry forward today. To begin answering this question, I'd like to share a bit more about myself. I'm obviously a black woman, almost 28 years old, privileged enough to have gone to a Catholic private school my whole life, and then on to tertiary education where I managed to complete my BA LLB in the allocated time. I recognize my relative class privilege in being able to state these facts about myself. And I know to many, my story sounds like the successes of the anti-apartheid liberation movement, where a young black girl can go through her life without racism being a barrier in it. When it comes to the born-free generation, that is the assumption about a lot of us. That a true rainbow nation was born through us and would bear fruit to a country full of tolerance and harmony. So why is it that we continue to still talk about racism and non-racialism? I'm not sure yet whether the debate has been settled on what non-racialism truly means, but I came across an understanding of it that I really liked and I'd like to share today. I read that non-racialism has its roots in the politics of Christian humanism, which states that humanism regarded Christianity as transcending race by offering an ultimate goal of interracial harmony based on the brotherhood of man. And why I think I like this understanding of non-racialism is because what rang true to me was the essence of a world where race really had no effect on the quality of life I lived. A world where I didn't start off by describing myself as a black woman. From as early as I can remember, my understanding of being a black girl meant that I had to practice the principles of tolerance, understanding, and compromise. My family made it clear to me that as a black girl, my journey was not linear, and that as much as apartheid had ended, the perceptions of people with my skin color were still carried in the DNA of this country. To me, this meant that whenever I faced conflicts in my multiracial school, race could never be the basis of any disagreement. It meant that I knew how to enter a store, to make eye contact with someone who worked there, and to smile and say hello, almost as if to say, don't worry, I'm not trying to steal anything. It also meant that even when faced with blatant and explicit racism, my reaction to that could never be that of the angry black woman. Although there are a lot of examples I can make about the socialization of a black person, that is not the aim of this today. I choose to characterize these moments as gray spaces that exist in a country which is anchored heavily by the past injustices it has faced. These gray spaces are not unique to me and my family, and are even less unique to many South Africans who exist between these gray spaces. These gray spaces are categorized by ignorance, by misunderstanding, mistrust, and hatred, but most importantly, these are the spaces that force individuals to question the race factor. Having to question the race factor is not unique to one race. It is something that happens across all racial lines and can be both positive and negative. However, it is in these gray spaces where I believe a lot of my work at the foundation must be done. But to do so, we need to learn how to navigate these gray spaces in order to gain understanding, trust, and tolerance. The few facts that I shared about myself earlier paint somewhat a serene picture of a post-apartheid South Africa. However, it is only in those gray spaces of those facts that you'll begin to understand who I am and why it is I am committed to deepening non-racialism. I sometimes feel like the topic of race is seen as the ugly stepchild of politics. It is a conversation that no one wants to have, but is forced to acknowledge in some way or the other. But I encourage us all here today to boldly take a step into these gray spaces, to be courageous in the conversations we have about race, and to build bridges of understanding and cooperation. Uncle Kathy articulated it best when he said, to build a strong foundation for a new country, the elements of forgiveness, absence of wickedness, absence of hatred, absence of revenge is very crucial. For me personally, my version of a non-racial South Africa is one where our livelihoods are not threatened by these gray spaces. It is a South Africa which I do not begin by describing myself as a black woman, and it is one where I can grow up without being socialized in what it means to be a black woman. It is one where the alleviation of poverty and inequality bond me with my fellow South Africans. And my dream for a truly non-racial South Africa once again was articulated very well by Uncle Kathy when he was bestowed the Freedom of the City Award. In this speech, Uncle Kathy stated that we can only be satisfied and happy when every child wakes up in a warm house, has a good nutritious breakfast, is able to say a loving goodbye to both working parents, goes to school in a safe and reliable transport, and is met at school by teachers who are there on time, ready and able to teach. The true essence of anti-racism work is about the fair and just treatment of everyone. It says to us that although we have faced injustices in our country, that we should use these injustices to inform the way in which we seek equality, fairness, and just treatment. The very essence of it tells us that every child should be born into a country where the hardest challenge of the day is the calculus problem they have yet to grasp. I urge us all today to use these words as a reminder of a truly non-racial South Africa. I urge us to recommit to a South Africa free from racism, poverty, and inequality, and to turn these grey spaces into the nation we wish to strive to be. To my fellow born-free generation, I encourage us to remember the words that wars were not won overnight. It is our duty to take forth Kathrada's legacy and turn it into our reality. Let us be patient and steadfast in our quest for a non-racial society, and to encourage those that come after us to build bridges of understanding in those grey spaces. So the answer to the question Mr. Bolton has asked us is that non-racialism remains relevant in 2023. It will continue to be relevant until such a time that we have built a society that transcends race and one where every child is free and happy to be themselves. Let us hold each other accountable, educate each other about racism, and ultimately build a community that is bonded in its quest for equality. Thank you.